what's going on in the world of sports. Andy in Seattle. Andy, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on?
Hey, nothing too much, Doggy. I was going to bring up some of these 2018 Oscar nominees, but I thought of something you said last week.
You know, the movies, I haven't seen all of them, but that's a pretty motley crew. Those movies are not that good, though, that are nominated for the best films.
I would say we're voting for the tallest midget. None of them really stick out. Some of them are really boring. I think a movie that wasn't even nominated for Best Picture was actually really good. The poker movie, Molly's Game. Did you see that?
I want to see that in the worst way, and I have not seen that yet. I'd like to see that. Yes, what else? Go ahead.
That's a good one. I actually saw the Margot Robbie in the Tanya Harding movie. That was an entertaining.
Yeah, the only problem with that movie is a lot of it's not true. It's not. From what I read, it was poorly factually based. Did you see Wind River?
That didn't get nominated, but I do want to see that on Netflix.
Very good. Did you see Marshall? About Thurgood Marshall?
I saw that one. I saw Phantom Thread. That's the equivalent of that pizza you ate yesterday. Just a complete waste of time.
Yeah, I will not see Phantom Thread. I know he's a great actor, but I will not see that. And that was nominated. Did you see The Post?
I saw The Post. I expected. Do you remember? I thought Bridge of Spies. I was all excited to see Bridge of Spies because Spielberg and Hanks is usually a good parlay, and I was very disappointed in that. So when I watched The Post, I was like, "Are we going to see another Bridge of Spies?" And actually, I thought it was much better than Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, I like Bridge of Spies. I heard The Post is a little dull early, but then it gets better as the movie goes along. I don't have the list in front of me here.
Lady Bird was actually decent. You might. I don't know how old your daughter is, but that.
I know. I hear it's okay. I did not see that. Billboards is good. It's not great. Darkest Hour is good. It's not great. Dunkirk is a complete waste of time. I should say complete because the cinematography is excellent, but Dunkirk is very overrated. I don't have a lot of movies that I didn't see The Post. I forget what you told me. Shape of the Water stinks. You told me that a long time ago.
It's atrocious. Did you now Get Out? That came out such a long time ago. So
I have no interest to see. I don't have any interest to see that. I don't.
Oh, it's good. You take like an edible and see it. It's pretty. It's out there. But I thought it was entertaining.
You liked it, all right. Listen. I thought All the Money in the World was good. I don't know if it was Oscar good, but I thought that movie was good. I thought Murder on the Orient Express was very underrated. I thought that movie was good. I obviously loved Wind River. I liked the Marshall movie an awful lot. Thurgood Marshall. I thought they did an excellent job. Darkest Hour was good. I didn't think it was great. It was good. I had a lot of trouble understanding Winston Churchill in the dialogue. But I think, it doesn't appear to be to me. I don't love a lot of these movies that were nominated, to be honest with you. I would like to see Molly's Game. I did not see Molly's Game yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, Molly's Game was great. And, I was, telling my parents, don't see this movie. But the only reason why I really saw Darkest Hour is to see Gary Oldman's performance.
He was good, but he was hard to understand, though. Very difficult to understand in that movie. Very difficult.
For sure. And I've never been a big Kevin Spacey guy, so I actually wasn't planning on seeing All the Money in the World. And then when they switched him with Plummer, I was like, all right, now I'll definitely have to check that out. And I do like Marky Mark, from Boston. I'll give him a pass for that Super Bowl scenario a couple years ago.
He tried to explain himself not too long ago on that. He made no sense whatsoever. Although he was good in All the Money in the World. All right, what else you got for me? Go ahead. What's next?
I got a little golf thing. Last week you said you really couldn't get into the L.A. Open. I thought that was a little strange because I think that course is, from a historical perspective, it's great. Especially the 18th hole's got that.
It's got a great background. The 18th, right.
The first tee, the drivable par 4 on the 10th hole. And obviously Bubba Watson killed any juice because there wasn't really any drama on the back 9. Now, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the Honda? I always get excited. I know it sounds weird. Like, the first tournament, it's usually on the East Coast swing, the Florida swing, when the golfers can – they start their tee time. The leaders are teeing off in the afternoon. That's when you know that spring is definitely around the corner.
That's a very good point. I always look at the same way when they start to turn for home, and what I mean by that, the Masters, is when they get to Florida. I don't know what the field is at the Honda. That begins, of course, tomorrow. Tiger is playing in it. Mickelson does not. I'd have to look at the field there. That's a tough turnaround. You're in L.A. one week and Miami the next, or Fort Lauderdale the next. But I'm into that event. Matter of fact, we should look at the golf schedule from here on in. I know they got a couple of those World Golf Championship deals. They got they got one in Mexico City. We can look at the schedule the next 5 weeks. They got Bay Hill. We know they have that one in Tampa. They have the Houston Open. But before we get to Augusta there, the first week of April, here is Jai in Baltimore. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jai, good afternoon. How are you today, pal?
I'm good, Mad Dog. How have you been?
All right, Jai. Nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? What do you have for me?
Well, I got lots of things on my mind. First of all, you breaking down that slice of pizza was hilarious. I mean, you give Gordon Ramsay a run for your money. You can break down anything, whether it's gun control, sports, you're something else.
The pizza was weird. My kids got a big kick out of it, amazingly enough. I give them credit. I was going to do it in Minnesota. We couldn't get it together, so we run out there to the west side. It's amazing what exposure they get on that thing. What else you got for me, John? Let me hear.
Well, yeah, a couple more things. I was just, because I'm not, because there's nothing going on in sports. I saw the 30 for 30, the 4 Falls of Buffalo about the Bills losing the 4.
Yeah, that was a good one. I saw that one. Yep.
Yeah, and they showed the media day of the Bills getting interviewed before their last Super Bowl loss, and in media day, Marv Levy. I said, "Who is that?" I recognized that voice, and I saw it was Chris Russo.
Yeah, that was probably was that the fourth one? So that would have been Atlanta. Yeah. That would have been probably inside the Georgia Dome in '92 or '93. I've seen that show. They did a good job at that. I have seen it. I do, and I have seen that clip. You know what's amazing about that 30 for 30 and that little clip that they do show you with Levy? There was about 5 people around Marv Levy. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
There was nobody there. There was 5. I had to look at it again, but I bet you, Jai, there was no more than 5 or 6 people around Marv Levy asking him questions at that media day in 93. Go ahead. What else you have for me? Shoot.
Just about a couple more things. The shooting. I mean, I didn't hear your show live. I wanted to call in Friday, but I didn't hear it live. I heard it on replay.
Well, you're a high school kid. What do you feel about it?
Well, I feel that they have to change these gun laws. And I'm so sick and tired of the mental illness and all this stuff. And you hit it right when you said it a couple of days ago. That if they don't stop it, one of these days, one of these deranged shooters is going to come up to Little Barron's High School in Prince George's County and knock him off. I mean, it's crazy. And how in the world you can allow a kid, a 19-year-old kid that's got snakes in his head, walk in with an AR-15 in your own house and have signs of them shooting up pigs and squirrels and all that nonsense? How in the world the FBI lets them slip?
I understand now. The Sneeds, and that's the family that brought the kid in. They claim there was only one key. They had no idea that the kid was going to get a duplicate key to open up the case where the rifle was in. Bottom line is, under any circumstances, if you want to be a good Samaritan, and give them credit for trying, but if you want to be a good Samaritan, you do not, under any circumstances, allow any child, I don't care what state it's in, that's as gun crazy as Florida, you do not allow a 19-year-old kid to bring a rifle into the house. That's all there is to it. I don't care who you think, where it's going to be locked up, who's locking it up, where it is, nobody cares. You do not, under any circumstances, do that. And they did, and we all know the result, which is horrific. Here's Jeff in Philly, and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jeff, welcome. How are you today? What's going on?
What's up, dog? I'm best friends with Eric from Long Island, so if you ever need your house cleaned or your car washed, make sure you call him after what you did for him.
Well, we don't need to say that, but Eric, reciprocated, so there you go. What are they discussing right now in Philly, by the way? Any idea?
Well, we got the Sixers are going to go to the playoffs, and so are the Flyers.
Are they still talking Eagles? Is everybody in cloud nine? Everybody a little burned out? What's the mood in the city?
Every day we're talking about the Eagles, every single day. Now listen, dog, I got a bone to pick with you. After the game, I heard you say on your show that Eagle fans think that they're the most passionate and they're the smartest.
They do. They do.
Absolutely agree with that, dog. We are absolutely the most passionate.
Yeah, you think you're more? No, hold on now, Jeff. You think you're more passionate than the Packer fan?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. The Packer fan, when they travel, they're not from Green Bay. They're from all over the country. When the Eagles travel, 90% of the fans come from Philly, dog, on the road games.
There might be a little truth to that, but you're not going to convince me that see, that's the thing. The Eagle fan, as we've gone through this a couple weeks ago, the Eagle fan, and Jeff symbolizes it, thinks that they are more passionate about their team than the Giant fan, and the Bear fan, and the Redskin fan, and the Packer fan, and the Lion fan, and the Brown fan, and that's ridiculous. That's not the case. Now, they're passionate and they're very loyal. We understand that, and that's the number one sport by far. Where in the other towns, the sport love is spread out a little more equally. Yankees, Giants, Bears, Cubs, Browns, Indians to a certain degree. It's a little more equal in other Tigers, Indians than it is in Philadelphia, but they are not more passionate than any of the other big football towns. They're not more. Well, they're more passionate than a Steeler fan. Why? Steve Torrey is in the house today. Now, I discussed this at the top.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of it. So what did you basically tell me?
No, here's what I can't figure out.
Am I terrible?
No. Here's what I can't figure out.
What was the theme of your complaints?
May I talk?
Oh, it's your show. You can do anything you want.
Okay, here is the theme. You give me a little music here or something. When you hear
Colin's looking at you baffled.
Well, he's trying to get the best ofs done so he can get out of here at 6:01.
Well, that's understandable.
But the issue here for you, Stephen, is simply this. There you go. Play this. The issue is this, is that you don't do anything. You don't read a book. You don't watch a TV show that I tell you to watch. You'll watch Indiana basketball. If you see, something on the 90s Braves on the MLB Network, you put that on. Mm-hmm. You don't watch TV. You don't go to a movie. You're free all week. Why wouldn't you go home and go to a movie? I mean, go see The Post. Go watch a film. Read a book. Pick up a book and read a couple chapters. You don't play sports. You don't hit a treadmill. You don't you're not a member of a club. You don't hit a tennis ball. You don't go to a golf range. You don't play basketball at the local Y. What do you do, may I ask?
Well, basically, you have a worthless existence. I mean, that's apparent, isn't it?
You're younger than me, and you're a great athlete historically.
All
much
of these
better
things
than
that you've mentioned,
Why don't you do any of this?
I have done in my life, and it hasn't been too long ago that I haven't done.
What's the last book that you've read, start to finish?
You're putting me on the spot. I can't think of something off the top of my head in 2 seconds, but there have been plenty of books that I've read.
Have you ever read a book on the Civil War?
Oh, jeez. What? No, actually, I haven't.
Is
that terrible?
Have you read a book on Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
At last check, no.
Have you read a book on World War II?
No.
Have you read a book on Vietnam? Have you watched a series like Breaking Bad? Have you watched the Ozarks?
That I will probably take you up on.
Well, why didn't
eventually.
you watch it? You're sitting home for a week. You got the wife out of the house, thank God, with that kid. And you can sit there and you can watch 4 episodes in a row with no issues with Breaking Bad.
Why you got to speak derogatory about my wife and kids?
No, Lauren and Luke, why don't you sit there and watch 3 episodes of Breaking Bad?
I didn't get around to it. I had to watch, Indiana basketball classics on BTN. I'm kidding.
You know what I'm saying? You don't seem to have... I've said this before. You do not have a curiosity bone in your body.
That's completely false. And why does it bother you so much about what I do?
Because you're not a talk show host, Steve.
What does that have to do with me doing anything about the Civil War?
Because that's important.
Not from 1 to 3, it isn't.
Here's another thing. Did you ever watch the great HBO series on John Adams?
No, but when I was channel surfing, I saw it this week and considered stopping on it, but I did not.
You never watched this?
Instead, I went, you know what I watched instead? Working Girl.
I watched that. I'm talking about this. You never even watched. Did you read the book by David McCullough?
No.
Do you know who David McCullough is?
He's an author, isn't he?
Name me another book he's written.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. My goodness.
My God, Stephen.
What was the point exactly?
I bet you even Colin could name you another book that David McCullough's written. He don't know anything.
What was the point about me coming into the studio right now?
But I don't understand why you...
Can you answer the question? What's the point?
You haven't watched this? This is a great series. You have not watched this? Instead of sitting there and watching highlights of the 72 Reds and A's, why don't you watch something like it was? Why'd you watch something like this?
Maybe next time.
This is you know how good he was, Giannotti, in this, and Laura Linney?
I know you told me several times.
This was it was a wonderful. What was it called? Was it called John Adams? Yeah, it was. It was 8 episodes, right? It was only 8 or 10 episodes. Quick, you can watch it in a couple of hours. Fast forward, you're all set.
Then you and I can talk about it. We can bond.
But you don't have any curiosity whatsoever.
Sure I do.
No, you don't. When's the last time you hit a golf ball? When's the last time you walked around
you want to know when I hit a golf ball? When I went down to Florida for Lauren's birthday. Went to the golf range.
Oh, you didn't tell me this?
Yeah, see, you don't know everything about me.
Did you bring your cell phone to get the Yankee scores?
My cell phone was in my pocket. It was too early for you. No Yankee baseball in January.
That's the Shorehaven lore. Steve, a special day at Shorehaven.
That's right.
Yanks and Twins.
It was an important game.
So you did hit the golf ball in front.
Yes, I did. Yep.
How, 10 minutes? A bucket? What'd you do?
A little while.
Did you hit the ball all over the place like you did in the golf course that day?
A couple of slices, but you know me, as you said, a good hand-eye coordination. I bombed a couple.
You're a good athlete. You have no passion to play golf?
Not at this point in my life.
You have no passion?
You know why? Because I know that I cannot dedicate the time to it right now, and you know that.
Well, 9 million Americans do. They get up at 4 o'clock in the morning away to Bethpage to go play golf.
I'm not doing that.
Why can't you do that?
Because I'm not.
You got one child at home. There's nobody there. I mean, what are you waiting for? Fox Lane's career, his career is over at Fox Lane.
Oh, it is?
He's not playing there anymore.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, my gosh, please. Come on, Stephen. I want you to expand your horizons a little bit. Have you done a jigsaw puzzle recently?
No, and thankfully I have. Thankfully, I'm actually glad.
I finished mine, by the way, 1,500
Congratulations. That's an excellent achievement. You should be commended.
Well, why don't you do something like that?
You should be commended because I don't know how you do it, and B, how you have the patience, because that would run dry very quickly.
You couldn't do that either. So you're sitting there last night.
I could do it, but to be quite frank, no disrespect, I have no desire
I'm driving
to do a puzzle.
home last night at 10:30. I figured maybe I don't want to interrupt him because I know he's watching a PBS show on the Roosevelt's, Ken Burns. So, but I call him.
That was 2 nights ago.
What's he doing? He's sitting down there eating a pepperoni pie, watching the end of Indiana, Nebraska, and getting frustrated because Indiana's had 5 empty possessions in a row in the fourth quarter or second half.
Well,
this is a college insider team. This is ridiculous.
No, that's beneath them. They're not going to play in that.
You get the idea.
You were right about everything except pepperoni pie. That was not my dinner of choice last night. But I did watch Indiana.
Boy, oh boy, Stephen, please. What's going on in sports today?
You know what? You're going to have to figure that out yourself.
Must be nothing.
No, you heard about Mark Cuban.
Well, I've been on him, $600,000 fine.
And also he admitted to ESPN that it was a horrible mistake in hindsight to referring, of course, to the decision to keep the Mavericks employee on staff who was connected to 2 separate.
He did a terrible job at that. Instead of farting around going on Shark Tank, how about there watching your franchise?
Rick Pitino was heard from today.
Yeah, I heard he talk. What did he say?
He said the school should consider taking legal action against the NCAA after the decision to vacate their national championship.
They ran a you-know-what house at Billy Donati's right across from Rick's bedroom. Rick Donati, his brother-in-law, who he beloved from 9/11, and they ran a little you-know-what.
You could just say sex scandal. That'd be fine.
You get the idea. Go ahead.
One of the Astros' top pitching prospects, Forrest Whitley, 50-game suspension, drug program.
Right.
Orlando Cepeda's in critical condition.
I heard that too. I hate to hear that. We'd do something on Cepeda if something unfortunately happens. Go ahead.
A cardiac incident, and if you care, the U.S. women's hockey team plays for gold tonight against Canada.
Well, you watched that at 11:10.
I might put it on for a little while. I actually watched a decent amount of the men against the Czech Republic last night. Believe it or not.
How could you get into that?
I don't know. I just stopped on it and I stuck with it. Milbury does the color analyst work.
It was an NBC Sports.
He's not putting in a lot of effort. Let's just put it
really?
That I can tell. I mean, Kenny's with him and it's fine.
Oh, Kenny Albert's doing it.
Kenny
made the trip over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that Kenny made that trip. Oh, my gosh. I have not watched the hockey, so Kenny's doing the games, not Milbury. So Milbury stayed here.
No, Milbury.
Not Doc Emmerich. He stayed here.
Yeah. Kenny's doing it.
Wow. So Kenny took that spot. Interesting.
Good. Does a good job.
So you're into that, all right? Mike Bruce Beck is counting the hours. He finally gets the hell out of there after 4.5 weeks.
Closing ceremonies are Sunday?
Sunday, yeah. Oh, do we get the latest rating for the Olympics? We like to have some fun. They like to spin it.
By the way, there are some decent college basketball games tonight.
Iowa, Minnesota. What else?
Well,
Xavier, Georgetown.
Iowa, Minnesota. They're 2 bottom teams in the Big Ten.
Xavier, Georgetown.
Well, no, Syracuse. They could use a win. They play Carolina at the Carrier Dome. That's a big game. I mean, that could determine their tournament.
What time is it?
7 o'clock Eastern.
I guess I could put it. I have a game myself.
If you think Penn State deserves a bid, they got a big game at home against Michigan.
All right. Anything else?
Doesn't get you going?
No. I'm actually thinking about not doing the bracket this year. I'm not bored with college basketball.
Why is that?
I've been thinking about, you know what?
No, this will be the year you win because you have no interest in it.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about passing on it, to be honest with you.
Well, that's disappointing.
If you do that, can we automate the brackets then?
Actually, yeah, that would be a break.
No,
If you bail, we automate them.
No, just because you said that, I'm going to make you do it by hand. And remember, the Christopher Russo, the old Mike and the Mad Dog producer, is in charge of the brackets.
Babchick.
So you are in charge. No, Babchick's got work to do. He's on the air already. You're behind the scenes.
He will continue to do this.
Anything else, Steve, for me today?
I think we're pretty much out of topics, don't you?
Syracuse, North Carolina tonight.
Yeah.
Penn State, Michigan tonight.
Both
What
at
else?
7 o'clock Eastern.
Both at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Clemson, Virginia Tech?
Well, Clemson's in the tournament. Is Virginia Tech in the tournament?
Probably.
Can I get the latest college basketball conference affiliation scenarios? Middle Tennessee. We were going to look at Middle Tennessee to see if they can get an at-large bid. And by the way, I'm glad you brought it up for a minute or two.
Did I bring it up?
The quadrant system is absolutely asinine. You know, it's complicated enough to follow this. It's 68 teams and figure out who's going where and knowing nothing about these clubs. Now I'm going to have to figure out what's a good win and what's a bad win by the asinine quadrant system.
Yeah,
Leave well enough alone, will you please?
I don't really think they've changed any format. It's just basically a way to sort of identify it. I mean, that's if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, they break it down this way instead of saying, wins against the top 50.
Well, how can Middle Tennessee?
How can
Middle Tennessee ever get a big win against a quadrant one team? It's impossible.
Well, this system is set up to help the Power 5 schools. I mean, it's plain and simple. The little guy's not going to get a chance. Now, there are some teams out there. I mean, Middle Tennessee is 14-1 in their conference.
All right.
And they're 22-5 overall.
This is a team that beat Michigan State a couple of years ago. Go ahead.
That's right, in the tournament. In non-conference, they lost to Belmont by 6. They beat Vanderbilt, not having a good year in the SEC. They beat Ole Miss, who's their coach Andy Kennedy just left.
Under 500.
Lost to Auburn by 6.
That's not terrible.
Lost to USC by 5.
USC's trying to get a bid in the Pac-12.
And they probably will. Miami by 3. So they've been very competitive, and they had a decent non-conference schedule.
So they have a chance.
Yeah. Now, whether or not
Who did they lose to in their conference?
They lost to, I believe, Marshall.
They lost to Marshall.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe
that was last month.
All right. So you're into the college basketball. Anything else?
Of course.
All right. You're wrapped up in that college. You love that college. It's amazing. What turns you on to college basketball as much as you do? You didn't play it. All the kids, all they care about is playing in the NBA. It is a cesspool.
Well, the game has changed in that regard.
It's a cesspool. Why are you so? I know that Indiana, your daughter goes. I get it.
I think it's more of the shortened schedule is a little more appealing. The fact that, and I know you could say that a game between North Carolina and Duke means nothing.
Well, that game means something. There's history to it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm using that as an example because both teams are going to the tournament. But as far as in the big universities and in the arenas that have that electricity and the energy and the crowds and that's what I get into. And the fact that they're not all like the NBA. It's as crazy as it sounds. There's too much talent. You know what I mean? It's like you want some flaws. It adds to the intrigue a little bit. And the games are a little bit more important because there are less on the schedule. And when you get to the tournament, obviously the one and done scenario. And I like trying to figure out the scenarios of who's going to fit where and what schools might get bids in the middle of the pack of the big all that stuff. It's a combination of reasons.
Steve Torrey.
You were there once. Come back to us.
We continue here on Mad Dog Unleashed.